guys, today we are going to talk about the cost of building 5-bedroom bungalow from foundation to the roofing level. I know this is the kind of video you'll be waiting for. Just as I said in my last two videos, that some people are already complaining. They don't want to hear about the calculation. They want to know how much they should expect when building such houses, and that is what I've come with today. So if you want to know about it, how we come about it, please stay tuned. Plastering, I posted a video on plastering yesterday, so if you want to know how I came about the total, because I'm including plastering on this video, all right, if you want to know the cost from excavation to the roofing level and how you can calculate your roof, all right, stay tuned and watch to the end. Don't forget to share, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like. For those of you who have really achieved what we are discussing here and want to know more, please help us to drop how much you spent on your building from foundation to whichever level you are right now. I believe that it will help those who are planning to do so to really understand that what we are doing here is nothing but real, and we are here to help you achieve that your dream building without stress. Thank you. So guys, to estimate the quantity of materials required for constructing a bungalow from the foundation to the parapet level. Actually, this video didn't stop. I later had to add the roofing and plastering. Okay, so it will not end. You want to know how to calculate materials for your plastering, go and watch the video that I just posted 2 days ago or so on plaster. I will equally leave the video link on the description section, so you can just go there and click on it and go watch it. We are not going to say that, and we are just going to calculate the materials for you to know what to expect while building this kind of house. Actually, the example I use is 5-bedroom bungalow. All right, so the total material summary for from foundation to parapet: cement, during the footing level 63 bags, foundation walls 19 bags, DPC slab 122 bags, ground floor block work 47 bags, parapet beam 16 bags, parapet block work 10 bags, extra cement. I'm always talking about extra cement blocks. All these ones you need extra in case. So totaling 290 bags of cement at the rate of 7.5, and it gives us 2.175 million. Workmanship. Workmanship depends. That's why I had to break down. It depends. You can it depends on your workers, yes, and your engineers. Some workers will prefer you paying per bag of cement, while some workers will just charge you, and both of you will bid it and agree on a total price that they will do the whole work for you. So here I worked with 850 for a bag of cement. All right, for casting, 850 for casting, and when you multiply it to give you 178,500 for casting. I indicated it, please take note. Then transportation, loading and offloading. It depends. So that one too depends. Some places, if you go to buy like cement, they will charge you together with the price. So will charge you per cement. Some will just say, okay, pay us this for loading and offloading, while some sellers will be the one to pay for the loading and offloading. So it depends on your area, but we just added it. This is a rough estimate, remember that. And this will give us 2.4 million. Then sand footing will have 6.9 tons, foundation wall 6.2 tons, DPC slab 13.4 tons, ground floor block work 18.6 tons. Then this. Remember that all these sands are not the same. When you talk about DPC, that is casting of DPC, you are talking about shaft sand. When you talk about block work, you are talking about lateral sand. All right, shocking sand. I mean to say. So when you talk about filling, you're talking about lateral sand. So Take note of that. Parapet beam sharp sand 1.7 tons, parapet block work 3.7 tons, total 50.5 tons of sand. So extra. Normally, the when it comes to sand, the truck or the timbers they normally carry 5, even that 5 is scarce, but 10 tons, 20 tons, 30 tons. So for you to get this 50.5 and to avoid shortage. Remember in my last video I told you guys that most of times the measurements are not always up to what they call it to be. You might buy 10 tons and it will end up being 9 or 9 plus or even 8 plus. So you have to add some, and that is why I calculated 60 extra 20 tons here to make give us 80 tons. It might be much, so it depends on you. And that gives us 400,000, about 5,000 per ton, for 5,000 per ton. Okay, so plus the lateral sand for filling. Don't forget that lateral sand, filling sand depends on the level of or the level of the place you are building. If you need more sand, you will need even more than this. You might not need up to this. You might need lesser than what I just calculated. But I calculated 60 tons for this. So, and that gives you, oh, sorry, times 5,000, not 500, please. And that will give you 300,000. Totaling for sand, 700,000 naira. Then gravel. Gravel for footings, 12.9 tons. DPC, 26.9 tons. Parapet beam, 3.8 tons. Total, 43.6 tons. Extra gravel, 15 tons. That depends on you. You can just decide to go for 50 tons, okay? Add extra 7 or 6.4 to give you 50 tons. But here we calculated 60 tons, and that gives us by 16,000, all right? And that will give us 60,000 per ton. Take note of that. That will give us 960,000 naira. Transportation for gravel. Some transporters they charge together with the price of the gravel. Some will charge you per pan, all right? Some will charge you depending on the distance, your location. So it depends. But here we calculated 60,000. That will total 1.20 million, approximately 1.1. Then blocks. Foundation walls, 663 blocks. Ground floor block work, 1,656 blocks. Parapet block work, 331 blocks. Then totaling 2,650 blocks. Extra block. You should have enough extra block because we all know that blocks breaks so easily from when it is still on the road coming to when they are offloading and all that when it's being used. So you added extra 350 pieces of blocks, and that will give us 3,000 blocks by 650. Remember, we are working with 9 inches, and that will give us 1.950 million. Transportation for blocks. Yeah. Some some block sellers will charge you together with the block. Some will charge you on its own. Some will charge you even for offloading. So it depends on your area as well. But here we calculated 55 thousand workmanship, 150 per block. Laying a block these days is from 100 and above. It's very hard for you to see. Before it's 50 naira, 60 naira, 80 naira. But now, I believe that some places will still charge cheaper than what we are calculating here. But I calculated with 150 per block. I remember we said the total block we'll be using is 3,000 blocks. Okay, so here we are having 150 multiplied by 3,000, and that is 450,000. So when it comes to block, we are having 2.5 million naira. Then steel reinforcement. Steel reinforcement, footing 1.4 tons, DPC 2.7 tons, parapet beam 0.3 tons. In this one, sometimes some people don't really use much rod during their DPC. Okay, they don't. And that is why you see that they will tell you that bungalow doesn't need much road, but that depends on the type of soil. Okay, if it's a swampy area, my dear, you need it. You need it if you don't want your house to fall. So that is why I had to come up with all this. But if your soil is a strong one that your dry place that you will not need much soil, much a rod, then you might not need up to this. All right. So when you calculate it, we added extra as well 0.6 tons to give us 5 tons. Multiply. Remember, we are working with 12 here. I told you guys it's not only 12 size that will be used, but let's just work with one size that is mostly used. All right, so that is why I calculated with 12 You might use 8 you might use 10 okay, and you might use 16 if you need big pillar for your. This is bungalow, so we don't need 16 that much. So if you need big pillar, you might need 16 as well. But here we are calculating with 12 I remember that 176 length of 12 makes up a ton. All right. So when you multiply it by 5, it will give you 880 lengths of rod. All right. So multiply by 10,000. Rod is not 10,000 everywhere. Some places, like the one we bought last week, it was 8,005, if I'm not mistaken, but it's 8,000 something. So you can get it lesser. But also remember that there are complete and incomplete one. Always know that. And the complete gauge is always more expensive than the incomplete one. That doesn't mean the other one is not good though, but you should just know this. All right. So some places you will get it less than 10,000 per length. Some places you might get it at 10 or even more, depending. So we calculated with 10,000 here and we got 8.8. Then transportation for this loading and offloading. I don't want to pay. I don't think if I've come across any seller that will pay for the loading and offloading. It's always the buyers that used to pay for that and you pay for the transportation. So we calculated 200K for that. Then the binding wire 60,000. It depends. Remember here we are matting, so we need more rods here. For workmanship 700,000. This is a rough estimate anyway. So totaling 9.760. You see that when it comes to rod, it eats money, it chops money, consumes money. So that is why most people don't really match their DPC, you know. They will not, you hear them saying, I did not even use up to 2 tons. I did not even use up to 1 tons of rod. I've explained that anyway. So extra costs are excavation, 200. Excavation, most people charge per square meter. So it depends on how much is being charged in your area and how many square meter you are using, the size of the area that you are using for your building. But here we calculated 200,000. Is that to me is at the high side anyway. Then water, you'll be needing water because everything from foundation you need water except roofing. That is where you don't need water. But this water, I did not include plastering water here. Then woods and nail. When it comes to water, most of the times after filling, you will need like 2 tanker, you know, to melt the sand so that they can come together and then match out together in order not to have issues after building. Then your engineer and supervisor money, I calculated 1.5. Remember, it's not everybody that even need an engineer while building. Some will just get a messy man that knows what they are doing because some of them are more experienced than certified engineers. But it's always advisable you get a well-experienced engineer, okay, to handle your work for you. And this will give us 18.460 million, approximately 90 million. Now, this is from parapet from foundation to parapet level. Now let's add the roofing. Okay, when it comes to roofing, there are different types of roofs, and that will determine the measurements and the cost. Like flat roof, the roof area will be roughly equal to the ground floor area. If it's a flat roof, yeah, you are having, it will be nothing more than 200, because we are working with 196 um ground floor area, so it will be nothing more than 200 to 250. All right, and you will calculate with that. So if it's a hip roof, the roof area increases as the pitch becomes steeper. Okay, so for example, if the pitch adds 15% more area, the roof area will be like 196 square meter multiplied by 1.15, and that will give you 225 or more, but the differences won't be much. That is what I'm trying to say here. Then if it's a complex roof design, for instance, this stone tiles roofing style that has valley and other complex features, the roof area could be even larger than that of the hip roof. Okay, so for example, if it's let's say, you can, the measurement of the floor area is 196, multiplied by 2 or even more, or 2.5, and here I worked with 2 multiplied by 2, and that will give you 392 square meter. I'm using this as an example. So 1 square meter is of 0.45 gauge. When it comes to roofing sheet, they have different gauges. They have 0. I think 35. There is mainly 0.4555. I used to have come across using for people. So I don't know, but there is lesser gauge. I think there's even 0.25, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm working with 0.45. And remember, two pieces of it makes is 1 square meter. All right. You should always know that. So when you multiply 392 square meter by 7,000, it's giving you 2.744,000, plus other materials and workmanship. Remember, I did not talk about the woodwork, nails, and all that. So when you add all of them, you should be expecting nothing less than 3.5 or more. Here I worked with 4 million naira. So it depends. And remember, the installation also, you will pay for it. So all those things is what you add up. You might even be getting more than 4 million. Remember, I calculated 0.45. If you are going for 0.55, that one is more expensive than 0.45. Now we are calculating with 7,000. That one might be like 8,005 or even 9,000. So if you are going for 0.55, you should expect more than this. All right. So when you add up the 19 million that we got from foundation to parapet to this 4 million, we are having 23 million. That is now from foundation to roofing level. We are having 23 million naira. Now add the plastering. Want to know about plastering, how to calculate your materials for your plastering, watch the last video, and then you will know how we came about this. Here we worked with 200 bags of cement for this building, but remember that you might need more than this depending on the design of your building, and you might need less than this depending on the design of your building. Because if maybe you have a building that's so spacious that is not a regular size room, and every room has toilets with other things, designs on it, definitely you'll be needing more bags of cement. Okay, so here we worked with 200 bags of cement for the plaster at the rate of 7.5, and that will give you 1.5 million. Then 60 tons of sand for this. You know how we calculate 1:6 to 1:4, depending on the thickness and all that. So this is what we got. And transportation, 20,000. Workmanship, 200,000. That is between you and your workers. Then water, as I said, you'll be needing water for your plastering, 40,000. Totaling 2.60 million naira. So when you add that of from foundation to roofing, which is 23 million, you are having 25.60 million naira. So I will tell you that when you are building this kind of house from foundation to roofing, including plastering, you should expect, depending on the design of your building, you should expect anything from 20 to 30 million. Yes, let's put it that way. Anything from 20 to 30. Someone once asked me in the comment section if 25 million can go a long way or can build a bungalow from foundation to parapet to roofing level. And that is why I had to add up this roofing and plastering so that he can know what to expect. All right. Always remember, disclaimer, I am not an engineer, I'm not a builder, I'm just a project manager. All right. So my advice is that materials quantity can vary, okay, based on specific design, local construction practices, and site condition. Always include up to 5 to 10% contingency to account for waste and unforeseen needs. And don't forget to always consult with an engineer or contractor for precise estimates tailored to your specific project location. All right. I believe that this estimate should give you a solid foundation for planning the materials needed, the cost to construct your bungalow from the foundation to the roofing level, including plastering. I hope this video will help you in many ways. All right. Thank you so much for watching. I love you. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Share this video. Share this video. If you want me to keep posting, always share for me. I need followers and I need views. Thank you. See you next time. Bye.